Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a todos. Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. Welcome all. Welcome to a community dedicated to providing spiritual tools for living a happy and full life. My name is Karina Shearer, and I am the Spiritual Director and Founding Minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta. Today is Saturday, July 18th, and we're continuing with our annual theme, which is 2020 Spiritual Vision. The topic for the month of July has been Untethered or Unchained Spirituality. And this week's topic is The Truth Will Set You Free. If you're interested in reading a couple of the suggested books for this month, we recommend Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, Living the Wisdom of the Tao by Wayne Dyer, and Meta-Human, Unleashing Your Infinite Potential by Deepak Chopra. Each week, we open with a spiritual practice called affirmative prayer, which is also known as spiritual mind treatment. This is a powerful tool and a practical tool that shifts our consciousness so that we're open and available to accept all the good that is already present. It aligns our thoughts with all good. So let's move into today's service with intention, as we do each week with a reading from the Creative Thought magazine. I'll be reading from July 20th, 2014. Spiritual mind treatment is always done in the first person, so I invite you to close your eyes and take these words as your own, if you so choose. Truth remains forever indestructible. There is one wonderful power, an amazing creative intelligence that created and creates everything. It is in no way limited to the visible and invisible. This overflowing, unquestionable, infinite, eternal, limitless intelligence is within every fiber of my being. I am humbled by the magnitude of the whole and all that it means. The teachings of the science of mind and the dynamics of timeless consciousness are the ropes I cling to, evaporating all blocks and bringing about an incredible understanding of God's infinite universe. I occupy my mind with thoughts of divine principles and keep my attention on a life that will never fail or disappoint me. I let the reign of truth, divine truth, establish in me and rule out all inharmonious thoughts, anything that is contrary to the laws of life. I move from separateness to oneness, consciously dwelling in that secret place of grace. I hear the hum, I am in the midst. I feel the peace. I am grateful for awakening to the reality of God being pulsating within me, the self-supporting power that operates unhindered, the great I am that cannot change its inherent nature of expansion and expression moving forward, producing new conditions by an orderly sequence of growth forever indestructible. I release my word, and so it is. And that was written by Pat Farmer from Atlanta, Georgia. So let's review our purpose, vision, and mission statements. Our grand purpose is to awaken and celebrate diversity and to love and serve our community. This is supported by our vision, which is to educate and support each other so we can create the life we desire that works for us right now. And we do this by means of our mission, which is to provide spiritual tools for personal growth and transformation. So again, I'd like to welcome everyone that is here and know that you are all welcomed and valued. It doesn't matter what your path has been, you are welcome here at the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta. We teach a philosophy called the Science of Mind. It's a teaching based on new thought and ancient wisdom. We offer spiritual tools and principles to promote personal growth. And we honor diversity in all aspects so that we can see and appreciate the great oneness that already exists everywhere and within everyone. When Dr. Ernest Holmes founded this teaching in the 1920s, he studied both Eastern and Western spiritual texts to create the Science of Mind, which focuses on the individual use of thoughts and this powerful thing called the mind. Each week we offer a service with an inspirational message. And normally this would be done at a restaurant in downtown Puerto Vallarta, actually in what is known as the romantic zone or old Vallarta. But since we're still in isolation, I welcome you into my home via Zoom. So we look forward once again to supporting our local mom and pop style traditional restaurant, where we'll be able to have discussions afterward and to enjoy some home style Mexican cooking. So as we update and are able to attend out in restaurants unmasked, we will remain here in my home, and you, of course, in the comfort of your own home or wherever you're watching from. But once we have been allowed to go back out without masks, then we'll resume our social gathering at the local restaurant. So any updated information about this will be posted both on our Facebook page and on our website. So if you have any questions or comments, you can either post them here online or you can send me a direct email and I'll be sure to respond. Principle or precedent? Which is the governing factor in how we live and how we show up in the world? The truth will set you free is about more than talking the talk. It's about walking the walk as well. When truth is what we think, what we speak, and what we practice, and how we serve, then we are living, breathing incarnation of truth. At which point we are set free because we realize we've been free all along. I'd like to share these two quotes with you from Dr. Ernest Holmes. In The Science of Mind, he says, I am a center in the divine mind, a point of God-conscious life, truth, and action. My affairs are divinely guided and guarded into right action, into correct results. Everything I do, say, or think is stimulated by the truth. There is a power in this world that I speak because it is of the truth, and it is the truth. And of course, one of my favorite principles is not bound by precedents. So what does this really mean? Principle is not bound by precedent. The past is not always the best path for present action and or present thought. Just because it's always been done a certain way doesn't mean we have to continue with the way of doing things. I remember a story, and this is also from my grandmother. She used to cook a ham in a big crock pot in the oven. And before she'd place it into the pot, she'd cut off both ends. And so as I grew up and started cooking for my family, I would cut off the ends as well. And my daughter asked me, "Why do you do that?" And I said, "Well, because Grandma always did. I don't know." And so we asked my grandma, "Why do you cut off the ends of the ham when you put it in the casserole dish in the oven?" And she said, "Because my dish was too small and it wouldn't fit the entire ham, so I had to cut off the ends." Well, how many times do we go through life doing things just because they've always been done like that in the past without questioning it? Times are changing. And if we want a better outcome, a better result, a better life, we need to be willing to let go of what doesn't work and start doing something better. It's up to us to go and figure it out. And the sooner, the better. When we know better, we do better. This month, we are focusing on untethered or unchained spirituality. The first week, we discussed being free at last. Last week, we discussed none of us are free until all are free. And this week, we are discussing the truth will set you free. We know there is one good, one source, one indestructible, absolute, pure love. This one manifests itself in and through all creation. The science mind believes in individualization of the spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one spirit. From this truth, we know that we are all connected and cared for by this source. It is heaven within us, and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. And as we return to this knowing and reconnect with Source as an indwelling presence, our lives become free from all discord. So let's dive in a little bit deeper. Today we're going to discuss 3 key points, and they are: number 1, you are perfect as you are. Secondly, practical steps to move towards this truth. And finally, redefining your mind. So, point number 1, you are perfect as you are. There's nothing that needs to be changed to make you more deserving of an abundance of life. You are deserving of all that you desire, and it's God's desire to provide you of all your dreams. There's no test that you must pass, no sacrifice you must bear, and no anguish you must endure. We need to accept it, all the good, exactly where we are, and grow from that place. It's available to each of us as we believe. Dr. Ernest Holmes said this: there is one power in the universe, and we can all use it. Our second point is practical steps to move towards the truth. So, in the infinite nature of God, all conceivable good is eternally available, just like the previous quote. It's ready to flow into human experience. So let's create a toolbox of spiritual practices and drop into it, and place into it, any of your personal practices that work for you, such as meditation, prayer, visioning, yoga, communing with nature, radical forgiveness, chanting, or any other thing that brings you back to center and back to the truth of your existence. Set the time aside each day or twice a day if you can to retrain the mind and guide you towards the truth. Just as a runner can't start one day of their practice to run a marathon, or a baby knowing how to run from birth. Well, neither can we just flip a switch to enlightenment. But with practice, we find the pathway easier and easier until it becomes our nature. The key is to be willing to start from where you are. Here's another Ernest Holmes quote. This is from the Hidden Power of the Bible. He says, God is universal spirit, the life principle and intelligent energy pervading all. The writer must have been referring to a spiritual and mental likeness, not to a physical correspondence. Man, as the image of eternity, is made of God's stuff. He partakes of the divine nature. His likeness to the Ancient of Days is a spiritual likeness. And finally, our last point, redefining your mind. As the Centers for Spiritual Living Reverend Christopher Michaels says, move away from the land of hope, wish, and try. That goes the same for the should and would and could. Lose those thoughts, those words from your vocabulary. As you pass through your day, catch yourself every time you use one of the words that disempower you, and rewrite your narrative by stating what is now. Step into the power of being you as a constant reminder that you are all powerful and can tap into that infinite, that creative mind with just a thought. Use I am statements. I am that I am. When residing at the Jetavana Monastery, the Buddha uttered verse 80 with reference to Samanera Pandita. Pandita was a young son of a rich man of Savatthi, and the devas also helped him with his meditation by keeping the monastery and its precincts very quiet and still. And so that's why we practice that moment of silence. This is, or actually it's similar to why we practice that quiet and stillness. And that's one of the things that when we are centering ourselves, we take a deep breath in and just sit quietly with it. So this is what the Buddha says. Irrigators channel waters, fletchers straighten arrows, carpenters shape wood, the wise master themselves. And that was from the Dhammapada, or the Treasury of Truth, chapter 6, verse 80. This past month, we've been talking a lot about racism. And I came across this quote from Clint Smith. The violence of racism is that it makes you believe that you have to be someone other than yourself to be loved. There's no better time than now to engage in conversation to change our societal systems, to end racism and prejudice. We don't need to change who we are to be a part of this divine energy source. We just need to be who we are. This past week, I was engaged in a conversation about race-blind thinking, or simply stated, catching on to that negative thinking of those around you. There's no truth in trying to be someone else's truth. Dare to be you, and dare to be great. Don't buy into somebody else's negativity. Be you. And I like the saying, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. To achieve the ability to be the truth, we must remember exactly who we are. From the moment of our physical birth to the moment we transition back to the infinite, the world bombards us with the message of what is real. This continued push to make us believe that we see and what we hear around us is the truth, it's fraught with all the human reactions of fear, anger, resentment, powerlessness. I see a lot of it on Facebook, especially on some specific group pages. Now, I get it. A lot of us are at home. We've been here for weeks at a time, going out only to perhaps get some groceries or get our prescriptions renewed. But it's that negativity that we don't want to get caught up in. We want to stay in our truth. And it's through the work of spiritual practice that allows us to connect with Source, the one and only ever abiding spirit that runs through us, in us, and as us. It's this commitment to continue peeling back that spiritual onion layers of the physical messages provided to us to be able to see the truth beneath, to see our truth, who we are at our very core essence. So today is the first day of the rest of your life. And we should continue to say that each and every day. It's time to drop the shackles of what others have told you to believe about yourself and to begin the journey towards the truth, your truth. I used to be told that I can't sing, I can't dance, and those things kind of hurt. But I went on for many years not singing and not dancing. But the truth is, we all can. We may not be doing it the same as somebody else, but that's what makes us individualized. We deserve to live a fear-free, abundant life, as that is the truth. And that's the true of the nature of God. The world and humanity needs you, needs me, and it needs our unique expression of spirit. Standing in this truth is yours to do. It's ours to do. And it can begin with our next breath. So let's take a collective deep breath. Find your community, learn the spiritual practices that work for you, and put those in your spiritual toolbox. and return to the source of all that you are. The truth is that we're not our bodies, our education, our job, our weight, our skin color, our gender identity, our age, or any other label that's placed upon us by others. It's the acknowledgement and acceptance of our one shared soul that allows us to know the truth. And that is that we are divine spiritual beings having a human experience. The truth is that we are all that there is. And we're not divided from God, but rather we are a vessel for change and for good. The universe is ever conspiring for our highest good. With this knowledge, we're able to then walk through this world without fear, seeing only the divine love that is flowing in every moment towards our very best purpose. It's time for all of us to get on board the love train. So, I don't have the words, otherwise I would sing you the song. Love Train. Love that song. But right now, it's our time for mindful giving and financial support of our spiritual home. I certainly hope you have been inspired to live your best life and to practice daily those spiritual tools that are in your toolbox. Here at the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta, we rely on your support to continue to bring you these messages and this powerful teaching of the science of the mind. And we bless the financial gifts that you give today. Every donation is greatly appreciated, whether it's $5 or $500, or even just the cost of a cup of coffee. So we have some offertory affirmations. And if you would like to go to our website right now, which is www.cslpv.org, you can click on the Donate Now PayPal button to send us your donations. And again, know that we are very grateful for any donations that we receive. So I'd like to share with you our affirmations. And if you would like, I forgot about today's affirmation. So the affirmation for today is, I recognize the truth that the infinite lives within me and expresses its divine nature in me, as me, and through me. And now for our affirmations. And again, here is our website. There's a direct link that you can go to and click on the PayPal button. If you'd like to repeat after me, I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. And together we say, I do give eternal thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. So thank you for spending this time together with me today. Know that you are loved, you are a blessing to this world, and I love you and honor you. Namaste.